This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Scott Howell.
Hello, good neighbors, and welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast, brought to you by the Friends and Neighbors Group of the Greater Chattanooga region. Of course, my name is Scott Howell, and I'm your host for today. We're so glad to have y'all on with us. You know, the purpose of the Good Neighbor Podcast is to bring an awareness to the residents living in our community regarding locally owned and or operated businesses in maybe in your neighborhood, across town, or across the whole region that possibly you've never heard of before. You know, local owned businesses are the backbone of our community. Can you imagine what your community would look like if suddenly tomorrow you woke up and there were no more local businesses? It would just be a ghost town, and we would have so much less opportunity at variety in our daily lives. So we want to give these people a voice. Every one of these locally owned business owners has a story to tell. And at the Good Neighbor Podcast, we want to give them a place to shout that story loud and proud to all you good neighbors out there. And speaking of good neighbors, we've got one with us today. Her name is Nea Paris, and she owns Paris Campaign and Creative. And we're going to get Paris on here and get Nea on here and tell us all about what Paris Campaign and Creative is all about. And I'm going to introduce her now. Nea, thanks for being on the program with us.
Oh, Scott, thanks for having me. I'm so glad to be on.
Oh, we're glad to have you. And, you know, I want to know what all you do and what it's all about. But before we jump into talking about the business, let's jump in and just give you a chance to tell about yourself and your family, if you'd like to.
Yes. So I'm a Chattanooga native. I was born and raised here. I've visited quite a few different areas, lived in some different places, but Chattanooga is really my home. And so when I left for college, I was exposed to some different areas and different ways of living. And then when I came back to Chattanooga, one of the things I was opened up to was that, this is really an amazing city. There's just so much going on here that when maybe you're a young adult, you aren't really paying attention to. But when you come back and you look at the city with new eyes, the area with new eyes, because I've also lived in Cleveland, Tennessee. When you're looking at the area as a whole, you're like, oh my goodness, why would anybody leave here? It's just so amazing. But then also what I noticed was monumental growth in this area, especially we all have noticed it maybe within the past, say, 3 or 5 years or so. I mean, this area is booming, and there's so many more fun opportunities for, fun for families, fun for those who are aging, and then all those of us who may be in between. And there's no better time to be in this area than now. So I'm very much a business person. Business is pretty much what I do day and night. So that's what I pretty much enjoy doing. Every now and then I go and do some traveling, go to different conferences. But really, as a whole, I'm mostly a business person. I just love business. I love work. It's just part of me. My mom was an entrepreneur. My mother was an entrepreneur, both of them owning businesses in this area as well. And so I've kind of carried the torch, and that's pretty much who I am today.
Well, that's great. Nate, I want to hear about what the Paris Campaign and Creative does to contribute to the business in the community, and anything else that you do, share that with us.
Yes. So Paris Campaigns and Creative is a boutique custom media agency, and we're based here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And this agency is equipped to meet the creative needs of businesses large and small. And we do so with the beauty of business in mind. So we're able to help with variety of different things. We do some custom projects, but mostly we focus on public relations, graphic design, web development and design, event campaigns is one of our favorite things to do, landing pages for those who need some lead generation, videography, brand management, and even podcasts. So we're having a whole lot of fun with a variety of different, services and offerings. But what we're focused on is finding that custom solution for that team, right? We even train teams. We even train corporate teams. I have a corporate training on Friday that's involved around WordPress and helping a corporate team get acclimated to that platform. So we do training as well. But the main focus, Scott, is that We want companies to have that competitive edge using creativity and to not think of things as, oh, I need to order a website or I need this graphic. Well, maybe you need that graphic, but maybe you need something else. And so our approach is very prescriptive. So we really want to look at the situation and also the person we're working with, because businesses are run by people, right? And so we want to look at the people, the person, and the people we're trying to reach and find that custom creative solution that's attractive to them.
Absolutely. That's important. And you were talking about doing those corporate trainings. There's so many things, when you're running a day-to-day business, you're running the business of it, you don't have time to learn everything. You don't have time to learn all the things that are going on in the background. If I'm a race car driver, I probably don't have time to learn all the ins and outs of how the transmission works. I just need somebody to take care of that transmission so I can get out there and drive it. And it's kind of like that being a business owner and an entrepreneur. Sometimes you don't have time to learn all the details. So it's nice to know that there's a company like you out there that can help, teach you the things that you need to know, but yet take care of the things that you don't have time to take care of. So kudos to you for being out there for the business community.
Yes. Thanks, Scott. One of the things that I try to let my clients know is that it's not just about delegating and getting it done. It's also transparency in that I want people to know, okay, this is how this is done. This is the process. This is the why. I know a lot of entrepreneurs have been talking about, the power of delegation, and that's so very important. But there's also skills that you can learn to do better yourself, whether that's, learning how to write better business emails or learning how to manage your social media so that you can get more done in less time. But also you can get over some of the frustrations of changing technology, right? Because technology is faster than any of us can keep up with. And so it's important that we stay abreast on the latest and greatest when it comes to managing apps or managing desktop applications, whatever that may be. So it's important. And I feel, I guess, responsible with my agency to make sure my clients are educated in those areas.
That's great. Tell me about your journey, Nate. How did you come about to find a passion in what you do and come about to start the business that you started?
Okay. So I was an 8th grader at Tyner Middle Academy. And I took up this media extracurricular class because I thought it sounded cool, right? So, during the 90s, a lot of girls wanted to be, we wanted to have our own show. So we wanted to be like Oprah or Jenny Jones or something, someone like that, some TV personality. So that was really attractive to me. But really, when I got exposed to like the technical side of media, then that's when my obsession flourished. I was learning how to edit video, edit audio, shooting. I even was on a team that built a teleprompter. We built our own teleprompter in the class, and it was the coolest experience. But it's stuck with me to this day. It's just like, that was the very thing that just pushed me forward and said, you know what, I really want to get into the behind the scenes of why these shows are well-oiled machines, why these productions are so nice and people come away feeling good about themselves after this awesome production. So I wanted to be a part of something like that. So I earned my Bachelor of Arts in Print and Web Journalism at Austin Peay State University. Had a great time there working in the newspaper arena and then working on some custom projects on the side. Then from there, after I earned my degree, I worked with a few corporations and then decided I was going to just start my solo journey. I was on my own. I'm going to go do this. So, and there were a lot of little short-term projects along the way that really helped enrich the process and helped me to grow. Like I worked on projects for some pretty big name companies too. And I was, blessed to be able to do so. So I worked with companies like Drive Time. You've seen those commercials. Yeah. And so I did some internal campaigns with their team. While I was working at a local Drive Time location, I was actually able to connect with the corporate office and they let me work on a couple of projects on the side just for fun. and they became some national sensations. So it was fun to be a part of that process. And then later, after I worked a couple of corporate jobs and had some great corporate positions, I took up a contract with WebMD. We're familiar with WebMD, right? And so took up a position there in the brand strategy department as a contractor and had a great time. And then, of course, COVID happened. And so a lot of those responsibilities were let go at that time. But, still have a great relationship with that team there. And then just a lot of other fun projects along the way. We had a great time. And, as we started to grow, and I say we because we're a team of 3 now. We just enjoyed just being able to take what we've learned from different areas and bring them together. And because the people that I work with, we have various experiences of our own, various levels of experience, but when we put them together, it's just a magical thing. So, but as far as my own journey, I just wanted to help many more teams. And so I decided to launch this company to be able to do just that. I wanted to touch more businesses, more individuals, more entrepreneurs who wanted to do just like I'm doing right now and help them find the tools necessary to do that.
Okay. And you said you mentioned a while ago that you do videography also. Is that something that you personally do, or is that just another member of your team, or how does that work exactly?
Yes, so we're a duo. So there are 2 of us that have photography and videography background. Videography was something that I did many, many years ago, and then we decided to reboot it as another offering. But one thing that's becoming popular is corporate video, because video is really how people are reaching people now, whether that's Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, TikTok, and then also just having a video that introduces you to the community. It's just important to have in general, whether that's externally trying to reach consumers or internally to help either train or educate. Video is pretty much where it's at. So myself, and then I have another video contractor who works with me on a variety of different projects to help create the right solution for our clients.
It's funny. It took us long enough to figure that out, right? The video's where it's at. I mean, how many hours have you sat in those conferences staring at a steel screen with words across it and almost going to sleep?
Right.
Took us long enough to figure out that video is where it's at. So
absolutely. And the COVID pandemic, when COVID came, it really pushed us, it forced a lot of us really to get out of our comfort zone and actually take video seriously. We're doing Zoom calls, right? We're gathering, we have everybody pretty much has a webcam now. It's become a necessity. And so, there's at this point is almost no excuse why we can't get on camera now. So, and we wanted to make sure that we helped companies get there. There are many companies there now who they're still struggling with that, or maybe they need a little bit of coaching being in front of a camera, or they just don't know what they want to talk about. And so not only do we do the videography, the editing, and so on, we also consult. We do a site visit. So we take a look at the set or what the set could be, and we consult that. And then after that, then we, of course, do the production. And then while we're doing the production, we also offer coaching. So we help with diction and how you're projecting yourself, or if you're writing a script, or we need to load a script on a prompter, we'll set it up and get that going. But we're pretty much full service from top to bottom when it comes to that.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Videography is something that like you said, it's just become very important. So it's nice to know there's a great team out there taking care of that for the community. So what I want to talk to you a little bit about perception. Perception's key, right? Anything. When it comes to businesses that maybe that are new to you, that are just discovering Paris Campaign and Creative, what are some of the myths and misconceptions that you run into that people maybe need to be made more aware of?
Okay. So one big one that I run into quite frequently is that marketing is something that, I can just do that myself. And, we don't need to, spend a major amount of money, or we don't need to, sink a lot of dollars in it, especially when times are becoming, times are getting rough with business. So we find a lot of times that companies that may be going through a difficult time, They make a cut, and sometimes that's necessary, but one cut that they tend to make is in the marketing arena.
Yeah.
And, because that's so predictable, it kind of leaves the company very vulnerable. And there are two reasons why that can be an issue. One, so while the company is taking a break from marketing, the cost of creative services, like the services that I provide, continues to increase. So say you take a hiatus, right? And you're like, okay, well, we don't need to do marketing right now. We'll just pause everything and we'll come back maybe in a year or two when our numbers are better. And of course, you have to do what you have to do as a business, right? But when you do that, when you come back to marketing and advertising and engaging with, say, an advertising agency or a media agency, what oftentimes you'll see is what they call a sticker shock, right? Where it's like, wait a minute, maybe 10 years ago, I could buy a video for, I can get a video done for $300. Well, it's not that anymore. So it's important to maintain a relationship with the trusted agency. And a lot of times, when you're grandfathered in, as we grandfather in a lot of our clients, you're getting the most competitive rate, from years on out versus, stopping all of your marketing efforts altogether and then coming back, into the game. Another way that makes you vulnerable is that you become behind the game when it comes to, say, media. We're talking about how technology is so it's always growing. It's a living, breathing thing, right? So say you take a break and then maybe 2-3 years later, there's a new social media platform. There's, new tools, there's new equipment. Your equipment's now outdated and you need to upgrade. There's so much that will pass you by if you decide to just, take this hiatus and stop with your marketing efforts. So what we try to do is educate clients about, let's just stay the course because these different risks, right? And then also, when you do pause, don't think that no one sees you. Your competition is also seeing you take this break. So when you leave this gap in the community, right, your community building, right? Because media is not just about look at me. It's also you're fostering relationships with those in your community as a community expert. But if you leave that gap in your community, your competition is looking to fill it.
Yes, absolutely. Matter of fact, I'm glad that you said that because it segued exactly into a point that I was already thinking. I read a report one time that said before the Depression of the 20s, that there was two main cereal companies. One was Post and the other was Kellogg. Well, here we are 100 years later. Guess what? There's still two main cereal companies, right? Post and Kellogg. However, they said before the 1920 Depression, not the Depression of the 20s, that Post was the number one cereal company. Kellogg was number two. And during the Depression, Post decided there's no need to market because people don't have money. And they cut back their marketing. Kellogg's, like you said, saw that opportunity, kept pressing forward. And after the Depression was the number one cereal company and never have lost that footing in 100 years.
Wow.
Post is still number two. It has never been able to gain their footing. So that's the exact point you're talking about. Now that's on a national broad scale, but the same things happen in a local market and a regional market. Same things happen. So the good point that you made there. When step outside of work for a moment, just real quickly. If you're, what does Nea do to have fun when she's not in there grinding numbers and helping people boost their company? What does she do for fun?
Okay, so I'm blessed to be in a field that's a whole lot of fun, right? We have lots of variety and such, and I built it to be that way. But so sometimes it's hard to break away, right? I mean, you'll see me on weekends doing some fun stuff, or I might be on a podcast like this one here, So I'm just blessed to be able to be in a field or an industry where I'm having a lot of fun. But when I'm not doing this, when I'm not glued to a computer screen or on a campaign or shooting a film or something like that, I'm actually out salsa dancing. So that's one of my favorite things to do. I've been doing salsa dancing for probably about 12, 13 years or so. I'm not, I've taken some classes in like Knoxville and here locally. And I just love it. It's just, I don't do anything professional or anything. It's just where I can actually be like, okay, I'm, letting loose and just getting to,
Exactly.
burn some energy and meet some awesome people. And the salsa scene in this area has just flourished. It's just a whole lot of fun. And so that's what I like to do. I have to get physical at some point, because when you're sitting here and you're in a chair and you're in front of a screen, you start getting a little bit like antsy, right? So that's one of the things I really enjoy doing is salsa dancing. And then also I love a good road trip. So, just wherever I can be to kind of enjoy new surroundings and see some new things. I love hotels. It's crazy. So I'm that person that travels and just hangs out in the hotel. I know that sounds weird, but I'm always just fascinated by, okay, this space, it's a different room, and this bathroom is gorgeous, and all the amenities and such. So when I'm there, I'm really like, peeping out like all the beautiful hotels that I get to experience. But I get outside a little bit too. But yeah, that's pretty much the highlight of it. And then of course, I live with two Schnauzer poodles, Coco and Matrix.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm cuddling up with them in my
yeah.
downtime. So, they keep me busy and active, and I just love them to pieces. They're 3 and 4 years old. And of course, because they got the Schnauzer in them, they're very yappy. And so taking them out and about can be, but they're my pride and joy. I love spending time with them. And
I'm a dog guy too. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And you're talking about the salsa. I was looking at a dance class the other day myself. I was thinking, wow, I wonder if I'd be any good at that. Because, the older you get, you better use it or you'll lose it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you got to get up and move around. So
right.
That sounds awesome that you're already doing that.
Yes.
I tell you what, I want to jump into a question that I always like to ask everybody on this program.
Yeah.
And that's this. Now, Nate, when it comes to the heart of your business, moving out a little bit outside of what you do, but more of why and how you do. When it comes to the heart of your business, if there was one thing that you wish our listeners knew about Nea Paris and Paris Campaign and Creative, but they probably wouldn't know unless you shared it with them, and you'd like to shout it loud and proud here today on the Good Neighbor podcast, what would that be?
Well, I believe that business should be beautiful inside and out. You should do things with pride. You should do things in a way that you can look at it and that you did a job well done. I know that, say, in the sphere of creativity and marketing, I don't believe that anybody is not creative. I believe everybody is creative. We just have to tap into it. But also, there's no reason why we can't look our best while doing what we enjoy doing. I grew up in a family where your image mattered. It didn't matter what type of job you were working. It didn't matter where you were going. You came out, you stepped out with a sense of pride. You cared about how you looked and how you want to look good. You want to smell good. You want to speak well, and you want to represent, like for me, in my case, representing my family. But, when it comes to your business, there's very much the same approach. It doesn't matter what it is you're creating. So maybe that's your website. Maybe that's your business card. Maybe that is your podcast. Maybe that is your whatever image presence that you want to create. We want to do that. And you want to do that with style, because that's very attractive. That's very, when you're thinking about the consumer and what they need and who they're wanting to trust, they're going to trust the person that takes themselves seriously in various areas of their life, and especially in their branded image and as well as their personal image. And so I want to take that and make an extension of that to that entrepreneur, to that marketing manager, to that business owner who is maybe stuck trying to figure out what the next step is, how to elevate themselves, how to really break out and be the expert in their community. I just really, really urge every business to consider your image and don't think that no one is looking at you. Everyone is looking at you.
Everyone is looking. Yes. That's exactly right. Wow. That was very well put. Very well put. Well, Nate, I want to give you an opportunity right here to share with us, online or offline, how we can find out more about you, how we can contact you, And that way everybody knows how to find Nea Paris and Paris Campaigns and Creative.
Yes. So best way to reach me is neaparis.com. That's Nea Paris, Paris as in Paris, France. That is not a mistake. That is actually the name. neaparis.com. Reach out to me there. Subscribe to my newsletter. The Passport is full of updates, tips, and best practices and specials. I even plan to include some courses that I'm working on as well. And then you can also get some highlights of my team and get to meet the people that are behind this business. And then also, if you want to reach out, you have questions, you need to pick my brain, whatever that is, reach out to me at hello@neaparis.com. That's hello@neaparis.com. Those are the two best ways to reach out to me.
Okay. And for all the social media butterflies out there, are you on social media?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. Instagram, it's Nea Paris. And then also on Facebook, it's Paris Campaigns and Creative. Look it up. You'll find me easily.
There you go. Nea, it has been a pleasure talking to you today. I mean, you talk about informative. You have done a wonderful job at explaining what you do, why you do it. And not only that, you shared a lot of good insider information about why they should do it and why they should be listening to you when you speak. You're kind of like the old commercial said, when E.F. Hutton speaks, everybody listens. I kind of feel like that when Nea Paris speaks, everybody needs to be listening, right?
Oh, you're too sweet, Scott.
that was awesome. I really enjoyed it. And thanks for being with us today.
Oh, thank you, Scott, for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And, to all the good neighbors of the greater Chattanooga region, I know that Nea hopes after, listening to her speak about what she does and why she does it and why you should too. I know that she hopes that you'll keep her and her staff in mind the next time that you have a project that comes up that fits what she shared with us today, what she does, what she offers, because it sounds like she has a lot of insight. She has a newsletter that we can subscribe to and get continued information. So keep her in mind and let her try her best to earn your business, to talk to you, have that conversation with you when you're reaching out and needing to talk to someone about those things. And to all the listeners out there, thank you so much for being with us today. I know you took time out of your day to be with us here at the Good Neighbor Podcast. And, always remember to support the locally owned businesses in the greater Chattanooga region. From Cleveland to Dalton, from Jasper and Trenton, all the way out to Benton. There's so many small businesses, so many communities that need our support and need our help. My name's Scott Howell. Again, I'm with the Friends and Neighbors Group. Everyone go out and make this a remarkable day.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpcleveland.com. That's gnpcleveland.com or call 423-380-1984.